Good afternoon, Receptive Radio community and my personal Facebook page. I'm also streaming there live today as well. And so we'll just wait before I get really started for anyone to get on. But if you're catching this on my Facebook page, this 20 minutes live that goes every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. is in a Facebook group, a private Facebook group called Receptive Radio. And this group is meant to hold space for visionaries, influencers, change agents, transformers, people who are the leaders and the up and comers of this world transformation that we're going through. And it's happening right now. It's happening right now. And this is a safe space for me to hold space for you to change. And in the 20 minutes, I'm offering unique, different, unmainstream, not mainstream ways to get help and support. And the topic for today is you're an independent and strong person. You've been developing yourself. You've become very strong, but still you're afraid to ask for help when you really need it. And it's the old paradigm, it's the old programming of the old way of, oh, I can do it all of myself, that needs to be transformed so that you are open to receiving the help when it's usually right in front of you, but you can't see it. So the reason I'm bringing this topic up is because I've done a few discovery calls lately with people, and when I'm talking to them about what's going on, what's coming up was one of their issues, it's being afraid to ask for help. And I have had this problem myself. So let me give you some perspective. I grew up in a family that was very hardworking. We were constantly, we raised horses, and we still do. But it's a lot of work, and I became independent and responsible at a young age. I was, taking care of my brothers and, learning to cook dinner at, 12 years old, and babysitting other people's kids even at 12 years old. So I was really responsible and self-motivated and self-directed as a young person, as a kid. And, that's influenced the course of my life. I am a responsible, self-directed, self-motivated person, and I usually hang out with those types of people. And those types of people are my clients. But when we get this strong, independent program and we keep operating in the same old way, we really get this mindset instilled into us that we can do it all on our own. Because many times we did. Many times we figured it all out by ourselves, and we didn't need anyone else's help to get the degree, to get the job, to get the whatever we desired. And later on, I've had that hurt me. I'm not sure. Has anyone else been stuck because they were afraid to ask for help? If you have been, put that in the comments. Yes, I have been in the past afraid to ask for help. And oftentimes it's because we're in situations that when you look at it, you can't ask this person for help because they're already struggling themselves. And when you're really good at maintaining an outer appearance that you have your shit together, doesn't really mean that you actually have your shit together. So, we see, oh, well, there isn't anybody else for help, so I'm going to have to figure this out for myself. And so when we reinforce that program of, I have to do it all on my own, I have to figure this all out by myself. So I want to offer you 3 ways to transform that mindset and the actions that hook onto that old mindset that stop us from asking for help. And I just have some notes here. So first off, the first way to ask for help is to stop telling yourself that you can do it all by yourself. And I'm going to give you a little example here. I have a really big purpose, and my purpose is to help people to get out of struggle, to transform the obstacles so that they can do their purpose work. And I've had many, many obstacles in my life, but I've been really good at finding help from unexpected ways. But I've been really good at getting stuck for many years at a time, even, and getting slowed down. So I don't want that for my clients. I want to help you move forward quickly and I've already, paid the dues, so I can help you. So stop thinking that you have to do it all on your own. This is a mindset shift. You don't have to do it all on your own. There is a whole village of support out there. There's your family, there's your friends, and there's the universe. And there's people like me, mentors, coaches, spiritual teachers, who either do private stuff or group stuff. And there is lots of free resources out there, including this one, Receptive Radio. So don't think that you have to do it all on your own, because when you say that to yourself, you're reinforcing this old mindset that you do have to do it on your own, and it becomes a pattern. And I was at a ceremony, a medicine ceremony. I am a shamanic practitioner too, so I go to ceremonies with my own teachers. And I was in a ceremony once, a couple of years ago. It was at the beginning of last year, January. And I was having this internal struggle that I was witnessing from the inside, where I was hanging on to this idea, this mindset that I have to do it all by myself. And, my guides were showing up and really asking me, are you sure about this, Jennifer? Like, are you sure you really want to do this all by yourself? Like, do you want to do all of this all by yourself? All the heavy lifting, all of the finding and sourcing and resourcing for what you want to do in your life? Do you want to do it all by yourself? And, it took a while for me to get to this point in the process I was going through at that moment, which was a silence inner process. I was like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And then I kept getting this, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that all by yourself? And eventually I said, no, I want help, in my head voice. And I saw this network. In my vision, I had this network of support show up and light up, and like a cheering section light up inside of me, releasing that old pattern, that old mindset, that old structure. And it was like a network of a web, like the network of the internet, when you see the lights lit up across a city, that kind of a network. It was showing me myself, my higher self was showing me that there is all of the support available. It's just that we can't always see it, feel it, or know it's there, but it is there. So it's just the mindset, the old program hanging on inside of us, and the old ways and the things we grew up with that keep us trapped in this idea that we have to do it all on our own. We don't. So number one, begin stopping thinking that. Notice when you tell yourself, I got to do all this. I have to do this by myself. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Just pay attention this week how many times you tell yourself that, because that reinforces the old program that you have to do it all by yourself, and it restricts help coming in. And if you want to do a longer process with that, you can get your journal and just write to yourself about this. Write to yourself why you think this, like unpack it a bit through some writing. So that's number one. Stop telling yourself that you have to do it all on your own, because it's an old lie. It's not true. Okay. Number two, start talking out loud that you need some help. It seems simple, but nobody can read your mind. there is we do have the technology of telepathy, but we're only just really knowing how it works, and we don't know how it works, and we're trying to figure it out for ourselves, and it works sometimes and it doesn't work other times. No one else is reading your mind because they're in their own heads and they're totally out of their bodies as well. So no one else is paying attention to what's going on in your mind. Only you are. And sometimes you have to speak out loud that you're hurting, that you're suffering, that you're struggling, that you don't know what to do. You don't know how you're going to get help. I'll just tell you another story. I was with an alcoholic for 7 years. And long story short, towards the end of the relationship, I had got my degree, I got a designation, I was an accountant. I had gotten a good job. I was making lots of money. And the more money I made, the more he drank and stopped working. So it wasn't working out very well for me. And I needed some help. And there's a lot of shame that goes around with being with an addicted person. You're hiding it from your family. You're also rescuing him. Like I was rescuing him and making sure he doesn't forget these things or his business didn't fall apart. I was paying attention to him instead of myself. So I was really struggling. And I was almost laughing about it too. Like, what have I done to myself? Right? Like I knew I needed help. But I also thought I had that old mindset before of I have to do this all on my own. I have to get myself out of this trap. I'm the one who got myself in there. So I I was all of a sudden I just started telling people I was with an alcoholic. When people I'd meet new people, and I was meeting lots of new clients at my job. And they were nice people and I felt safe with them. And so they asked me about my relationship and I just would say I'm with an alcoholic. And, I just would tell them nonchalantly, I'm with an alcoholic. And that was just my way of putting it out there that I needed help. And couple of times I might have had a breakdown or something bad had happened. And I was upset when I went to the office and I couldn't hide it. And my crying or my, puppy eyes showed up and other people could see. So I kind of had to have like a public breakdown in order to get some help. And so I had to kind of verbalize that I needed help and I don't know what to do. And because when I did do that, when I actually told this one client of mine that I'm with an alcoholic, she went away and came back and offered me a resource. She gave me a woman's name who was a coach, an unconventional coach who she used before for certain things, and that she recommended I go and see this person. So that worked. Me just being honest that I'm stuck and and telling somebody, pretty much the main issue, and it was I was living with an alcoholic. And I didn't know that I was going to get any help from it. I wasn't like really asking for help. I was just saying that I was. So I was speaking out loud instead of holding it inside of me and internalizing it with that old mindset of mine that I have to figure it all out on my own. So, second step, just start talking about it. Talk about what you're struggling with. Because if you say something to somebody, they might know somebody that can help you. So number one was, I'm going to repeat this. Number one was stop thinking you have to do it all by yourself. Change the mindset. Number two was speak it out loud that you're struggling. Stop hiding it. Stop hiding it. So what's the third one? Decide to use the help that shows up. Okay. So I told the woman that I was struggling, my client. I was with an alcoholic. She offered me on a silver platter a person's name. that she thought could help me. And all I had to do was decide to pick up the phone and phone this person and book an appointment. And because I made that action step, I made a decision that really, it was pivotal. It was pivotal because for 7 years I was stuck in a relationship with an alcoholic. I was growing. I got a degree. I got a designation. And while I was growing, this person just kept drinking more and pulling me down, pulling me down. So the more I grew, the more I had to like actually um, slow down my progress so he could keep up with me. Like I had to keep lowering myself down to their vibration. I had to keep hanging out with their idea of what fun was, like how much fun is it to hang out in a garage where there's 5 guys drinking and you're the only woman after work? It gets freaking boring. And, that's where the struggle starts. You start to notice like, ugh, what the hell am I doing here? Because you're doing all of this personal development work on yourself and you're noticing that you are better than what your environment is and what your current relationships and friends are. So, that's where you start to wake up. You start to wake up. So, number 3, decide that you want to use the resource, the help that showed up from the first 2 steps, where you stop telling yourself that you can do it all on your own. Because that step, when I stopped telling myself that and I started speaking out loud that I was struggling, immediately, like within a few days, and if not sooner, like in that moment, she told me this woman's name. And then within a few days, I had booked an appointment. And within a week or 2, I was getting some support. And then you know what? That support got me out of the relationship. It made me strong enough to take the next steps because that was not an easy situation to get out of. I had tied myself up into a knot, and it took over a year to unravel it all. Not just with her support, like with the actual process. So there's always time. There's always time. So never despair. Never despair when you're stuck in something like that. That's so difficult that you cannot unravel it, because you can. And there is help out there. So I want to recap here. Change your mindset. Stop thinking you have to do it all on your own. Start speaking out loud that you are struggling. And 3, when the resource shows up to help you, take an action to look into it and potentially sign up for it, because that's the universe's way of showing up for you. That is how the universe works. As soon as you start communicating that you want the help of the universe is working through people. Each one of us is our own universe that's connected to the greater universe, and we're helping each other out, but we have to ask for help. Because if you don't ask, you can't receive help because of this thing that's called free will. No one, and if people are interfering and trying to help you, that's usually mucky too. So you want it to come from you, your inside of you, to ask for the help and the support. And the universe is always listening to you. It's always listening. It's always hearing that what you want. It knows everything about you because you know everything about yourself. So you also know everything about where you're staying stuck, where you're struggling. If you're paying attention, we can definitely fall asleep to ourselves, and we have to constantly keep ourselves awake. And that's why you're here right now on Receptive Radio. You're keeping yourself awake. So I'm really grateful for the viewers who showed up. Thank you so much. If you'd be so kind, leave some comments in the comments. Write a message in the comments, and take something this week that you have been holding a thought around that you have to figure out for yourself, and just try these 3 little things. it's actually two things that create the third thing. And then come back and let us know how it worked out for you. You don't have to give us the details. But if you're feeling like you are struggling and you do want some help, I am a resource. I am a support system, a support person for helping you access the universe support so that you can get out of the traps, transform the obstacles, and do your purpose work, be very powerful. And if you're a visionary who's an entrepreneur, create prosperity doing what you love. So thank you so much. And I send you many, many blessings, and have a great week until I see you next time. Aho.